And then just mentally, because I'm coming from a place of I never planned to have children, and now here I am pregnant with a child. I've never thought of myself as a maternal person. I think I'm a great aunt, but I'm not very good at anything maternal. And I was so worried. I was like, oh gosh, what if you become one of those people who don't like their kid? And it was just me in having intrusive thoughts where, or maybe you like your kid, but what if you're really not good at being a mom? What if you're good at being a mom and then you take it a bit too far, and then that's now that becomes your entire identity, and you forget everyone and everything else, and now this is all you want to. And it was just, the brain has a very beautiful way of, when you're stressed about something, it'll pick all the worst possible scenarios, all the worst possible thoughts. It hasn't even thought to remind you of what a beautiful blessing and journey this is. A complete unplanned to the date when we wanted. Yes, the doctor has said that your womb is healthy, and your fibroid is gone. Your the embryo is doing, like, all these positive details weren't clicking in my head. You have a good partner, you have a good home, you'll be able to raise your child well. All these things are not registering more than the more negative,
The
intrusive
negative side,
thoughts.
yeah. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Mama Zone. It's actually raining outside, and I think my guest brought rain, which is we hope it's a blessing. We'll find out soon enough. Today's guest is someone dear to my heart. She's one of my best friends, and she's never spoken about her pregnancy journey, despite the fact that she's been in the public eye. So it's gonna be a very interesting story to listen to, her motherhood journey, and all the va-va-voom and, shall we say, extraness of this particular guest. I'm sure you will find it as enjoyable as I did witnessing it. And with that, I'd like to introduce my lovely guest. Please help me welcome, and I was taught something by my last guest. Please help me welcome the one, the only. What is this?
Oh, clock it.
Clock it. Anita Nderu.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for having me. When you said it's raining today, the thought that came into my head is, when it's so rare to see someone, you're like, she's here later, Nyesha. So probably that's what happened.
Well, I mean, when was the last time you saw Olive?
Fair enough. That was like 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. Yeah. That's the last time I was here. 3 weeks or a month? Has it been 3 weeks or a month? It's within that ballpark. It's within that ball. I know I haven't been anywhere in the last 2 weeks, but I know 3 weeks ago, maybe a month. Yes. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is an absolutely fantastic platform and concept, and just all the information that we can now get from real time, and the within the era of motherhood of this time. And I just love how raw and honest everybody is about what they've gone through, because I think one of the beautiful things about motherhood is, I always used to say, you're sold a dream. You're told about this unbelievably fantastic and phenomenal process that you're going to go through, and when you don't experience what you've been told everyone else is experiencing, you just think you're not cut out for this. So I became a mom recently. You have as well, and it's just, it's been a very interesting journey, to say the least.
Yeah. How about we start off by asking, where were you when you found out you're pregnant?
Oh, can I first tell the audience about how we were meant to get pregnant at the same time, and then ukaniruka?
Is that necessary?
No, you don't want that story to be told. So we had originally made a pact, because we'd never had babies before, and we were like, you know what, we wanna have babies at the same time, so we're going through the same experience. It's safe to say that's not what happened, and I really held it against Ivy for the longest time.
But was your baby planned?
No. So we had planned for we would all begin the job, the mission, the whole plan around making the baby. You know the story of the birds and the bees. Actively January of 2022, and then 2022, and then what happened was,
You got pregnant.
which brings me to what you just asked me. So, we went and we did checkups before to find out if we have fibroids or anything was wrong, so that we could make sure that it was a healthy and conducive home for our baby, whom we were calling Peanut at the time. And then we go and we find out I have a single fibroid, and the doctor who gave me the injection to dissolve the fibroid swore to me,
So to us.
swore to us actually,
Yes.
there is no way, because you had fibroids too.
So I went through the same procedure as you did, right?
Yes,
Which was
and
the injection.
yes,
Okay.
and he said, listen, well, it's going to dissolve the fibroid. It's going to take about 3 months.
Yes.
Your womb will not be conducive.
Yes.
To hold or carry a baby.
Yes.
I mean, please, by all means, though, if you're not trying to have a baby right now, protect yourselves. But then, anyway, how this story goes was, one random day in December, I'm in the bathroom and I'm cleaning the bathroom and I'm talking to my sister on the phone. And then during my wedding, for whatever reason, my period just did not. But then I've come to learn, when you get stressed around during that time and there's a lot going on, your period can just choose not to come. But I was checking every day so that I find out in case I'm pregnant, because I wouldn't want to be chapaing sherehe and I'm having a baby. So then I had like a whole pregnancy set of kits and stuff. So I'm cleaning the bathroom and reorganizing everything, talking to my sister. And then I open this drawer and I bust out laughing. And I'm like, what? I have just found like 400 pregnancy kits. And then she's like, oh my God, you should just try out one for fun. And then I was like, how now? My period was just the other day. Anyway, for fun, I take out a kit and I try. And it says you're meant to wait, is it 3 to 5 minutes? I'm not even kidding. I'd gone gotten a container, so it had pee in it. And I dipped this stick. I don't even think the stick had reached the top. It's already 2 lines. I was like, this thing has expired. I get another one, dip it, 2 lines. I take another one, dip it, 2 lines. I was in shock. I was like, how is this possible? My period was 2 weeks ago. How? So I concluded, definitely all these 500 pregnancy kits, they must be expired. But then anyway, I was like, so I started thinking about it and I was just like, wait a minute, that was actually a very weird period. It was not the usual 7 days. It was about 3 days. It wasn't as much as usual. So I start to really rethink these things, and I'm like, let me tell B. So he was doing work meetings. He comes out and so we'd already been talking about, so we want to try have a baby starting January. So we'd been speaking positively in that direction. So I meet him at the kitchen island, and I was like, oh my God, I think I'm pregnant. And he's like, oh my gosh, I love your positivity. I love how you're thinking. You speak those words into action. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you, I really think I'm pregnant. And it's like, do you see what I love about you? You're so positive. This man was not understanding what I'm saying. I'm already freaking out because I had I thought you start to try, but surely it takes some time. It's not like today and then tomorrow you're
So
pregnant.
that January when we had agreed is the same January.
No, it was December. I got pregnant in December and not Jan.
And not Jan. So the plan was December. Oh, the plan was January, and you're now in December.
And now we're in December. So then, when I saw he's not understanding what I'm trying to say, I went and I got the kits and I put them on the table, and I was like, I'm telling you, I think I'm pregnant, and then he just, as life would have it, his Zoom call starts, and he's like, oh my gosh, this is like the worst reaction. I'm so sorry. Let me go finish with my leadership call. I'm coming back just now. This is so exciting. So he goes, and I went into shock. I couldn't believe it, because I really thought I had leeway. I had some months to gather myself. I had months to acclimatize to the idea. Because as you know, I never planned to have kids. So then this was an idea that was seeded, that I ended up really falling in love with. But then I just didn't think it was going to happen as quickly as it did. So the long and short of that is, it was a very shocking December. And then we go see the doctor the next day, and that same doctor. And then I really don't like it when this happens to me, whenever things go wrong. Well, okay, that's the wrong way to say it. Whenever things don't work out the way I've planned them, it's always, this never actually happens.
Oh yeah, you are
You're
the statistic.
you're the 1% of the, and I'm always like, why am I God misunderstands what 1% I'm trying to get into. But anyway, we go see the doctor.
And let's be clear, the reason why he said you're the 1% is because that fibroid injection was almost supposed to be a temporary sterilization, which it was for me.
It was not for me. But then I've also come to believe when a baby has decided that the baby is coming, it doesn't matter what situation you may be in, that child is coming. And we went and he did the test. Actually, he saw me. This doctor, you guys, he saw me and he said, "You're pregnant." And I was like, "How do you know?" He's like, "I've been doing this for 40 years. How?" He's like, "You're the seventh woman who has ever become pregnant when they're on that injection." And I was like, of course it had to be me. Then of course now he's just like, okay, it's a good thing, like the coil was already out, so he's now like, now we need to get serious about your prenatals. And then they do tests, and then they say, on this day of December is the day you conceived. And then we're just looking like two guilty adults. We're like, yeah, we know that day. We know that day very, very well. So peanut was made out of love. And that's how we found out. And then now it was, you were the first, Vanessa, my sister, was the first person we told. And then
Yes.
you and your husband were the ones we told after.
Yes, somewhere in,
Because we were spending New Year's Eve with
yes, in
you.
Nakuru, in that place where there was a chimney that wasn't working. Remember?
Yes,
So in
it
a
was so cold.
smoke-filled house.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
So
and you told us
then we told you, and I was like, all right, so your turn. Uh-huh. I'm like, it's okay, we can excuse you guys. We can go sit outside.
sterilization was still working in my body. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then that was that. And then now it was telling mom and dad. My dad avoided us for like half the month because I think he had a feeling. And as much as I guess he knew I was married, I think he just hadn't put together that a baby may follow. Until finally one time we really had to tell people. And we had to tell Barrett's parents, and we had to tell everyone. And we're like, I was like, Mom, you guys are not agreeing to come for us to come and see you, so I'm just going to tell you over the phone. And she starts screaming, "Hallelujah, Jesus is Lord, I knew it." And you're just like, okay, great, happy for you, can I talk to dad? And then my dad on the phone is like, "Oh, okay, that's good." Gives it back to, and he's like, "Here's your mother." And I was like, my dad's reaction was just, and every time he saw me, I couldn't tell whether he was more awkwarded out by the fact
And his kid was pregnant.
that his kid was pregnant or that his kid was pregnant. Every time he saw me, he was like, "Oh, kuna mimba." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's still there, Dad. It's still there." But yeah, long and short of that was that.
Did you wait to tell your family and friends personally? It's normally a mark. They normally say you should wait, or did you
3 months.
go 3 months? Yes. Or did you go before?
Once our parents knew, we told our closest friends, you guys included,
Before the 3 month mark or after?
before.
Hmm.
Before the 3 month mark. For us, it was a little different because we also know that in the event, heaven forbid that, excuse me, sorry, in the event that heaven forbid we didn't make it for the 3 month mark, I don't want to come to my loved ones and my friends out of the blue, completely devastated, and then I'm asking you to console with me over something you had no information about. Let's just be with us from the beginning of the journey. If it works out, I know you'll celebrate with us. If it doesn't work out, we will be sad together, but you're part of the journey the whole way. But I also understand for different people, they view that 3 month mark in a different way. But for us, it was okay. In case anything does happen, we would love to be able to say, "Hey, this is what happened," and it's not brand new news for our loved ones and friends.
Okay. So here you are. You've now discovered you're pregnant.
Yeah.
You guys are first time parents.
Yeah.
You are in the limelight.
Yeah.
Take me through that journey.
So mine was different because I I think I've shared this with you before, but I'll share with you as well, where I didn't handle the first 3 months very well because I was in shock that I'm pregnant. I was more shocked about that than the reality of what was actually happening to me. And because I was just so mentally unprepared for it, financially unprepared for it, work wise unprepared for it, I kept asking myself, what have I gotten myself into?
Okay.
I'm like, do you know what you're going to do once you have the child? Do you know what you're going to do throughout your pregnancy? Um, and I was just worried that things might not work out for me, and I don't want to be in a situation where I'm a parent and I've not planned myself properly.
Okay.
Admittedly, my partner is pretty well planned, and that's great. But then this was something that was more personal to me. I was like, I also want to feel like I am ready for this moment, and I didn't feel like I was.
Okay. So
And
maybe take us through why you didn't feel you just mentioned certain
uh
areas, mentally, financially, job wise. Just
yeah.
sort of expound on that. What was not ready according to you?
So then some of the jobs I was about to do were in the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them obviously I could not do because I'm pregnant now. So that one was kind of like put to the side because I work with alcoholic brands.
Mm-hmm.
So that one was perfectly fine. There were other two jobs that were in the pipeline that it became this thing where, and we'll talk about it later on in this conversation, where you share with the brand that, oh, hey, this is about to happen, blah, 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 just to have you in the loop so you know. And then you're told, oh, I think you should focus on being pregnant and making sure that your child is okay. We can always circle back to this, and it's almost like you become this pariah in the world that you're so used to working in, because suddenly you're about to be pregnant, or something. So suddenly you're pregnant and
You're
you're going
about
to
to be a
be
mom.
you're going to be busy, very busy for 9 months and probably another 2 years after that.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly it's, yeah, we if we can't have your full undivided attention, it's going to be very hard for us to work with you. Anyway, so then there was that element. I had not done very good at saving, right? And I was, and again, it wasn't a situation of just the entire household. It was my personal savings and my personal thoughts around how how well I should have done that by the time I'm pregnant with a child.
Mm-hmm.
And then just mentally, because I'm coming from a place of I never planned to have children, and now here I am pregnant with a child. I've never thought of myself as a maternal person. I think I'm a great aunt, but I'm not very good at anything maternal.
Mm.
And I was so worried. I was like, oh gosh, what if you become one of those people who don't like their kid? And it was just me in having intrusive thoughts where, or maybe you like your kid, but what if you're really not good at being a mom? What if you're good at being a mom and then you take it a bit too far, and then that's now that becomes your entire identity, and you forget everyone and everything else, and now this is all you want to. And it was just, the brain has a very beautiful way of, when you're stressed about something, it'll pick all the worst possible scenarios, all the worst possible thoughts. It hasn't even thought to remind you of what a beautiful blessing and journey this is.
Mm.
A complete unplanned to the date when we wanted. Yes, the doctor has said that your womb is healthy and your fibroid is gone. Your the embryo is doing, like, all these positive details weren't clicking in my
Mm.
head.
Mm.
You have a good partner, you have a good home,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be able to raise your child well. All these things are not registering more than the more negative
The
intrusive
negative side,
thoughts.
yeah, yeah.
So for the first 3 months, I was really in a weird space, and even just the professionally, where now, be it posting or just sharing online, a little more I was a little more introverted. It's
Mm.
almost like I was scared you'd see my Insta story and say, ah, that one's having a baby. I don't know what I thought. I just, I didn't want to share my confusion with everybody else,
Mm.
my loved ones and my family, my friends. Yeah, you guys for sure. But
Mm.
then I don't want to go, and I understand that this platform, sometimes I can say something and it's taken in a different way than how I intended.
Mm.
I don't want to take that confusion there.
Mm.
So I was just like, I won't say anything until I know exactly where I am in this
Mm.
space and frame of mind and heart.
Mm-hmm. So that's the first trimester. How did you navigate through that funk?
I don't know. I truly don't know. Maybe there's a part that played was somewhere along the way, I did really start asking myself, okay, honestly, what is it here that is valid stress that you have? Like, when you write down, these are these are the valid reasons, these are the non-valid reasons. And I looked at the list over time and I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. But I completely understand it's a very new frame of mind to be in. So let's wait and see. And then when we went for the 3 month mark exam, and the baby is very healthy, and then now you're being told about all the different ways where now it's not feeding off the sac, it's now going to be feeding off you, change your diet and da 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 and do this. And now it becomes more of a sense of responsibility than a sense of dread. Now it's not now we are over the bump of I hope everything goes well. And there was also that the whole 3 months I was because everyone was like, "Yeah, why are you telling people? You know, like you don't know these things. You have to keep it to yourself. Anything could go wrong. Oh, machombaya. Oh, this and that." Like you're being told all sorts of things. So you already have your own thoughts, and then now you're being told you might jinx your own baby by being open about having your baby with other people. And then you're now told your baby is fine, everything is great. Now it's time to be responsible. Now it's time to focus on your baby. And then I discovered, wait a minute, did you know that your tits grow really big and then you just become curvy and you look nice in everything? And it sounds funny to say, but then I slowly started finding joy in different aspects of being pregnant that now made me more excited than I was the 3 months before. So it was things like I'm very nerdy and I like knowing stuff. So there was a different bodily change or pain or ache or growth or something. And then I'd look it up and I'd see what it is. And it was interesting. There's an app called the Baby Center where every week it tells you about where your baby is and all the different. And I loved it. That's
Yeah.
how Peanut really became Peanut. And then between that, finding out what I need to do, just dressing up and just loving. I really loved the pregnancy feel and glow. And then just the responsibility of it. I don't know what it was. Maybe I just, when I think about it now, I'm talking to you. Maybe there's an element in my mind that was always like, in your 20s, you are not necessarily the most responsible person on earth. And then now just, I was like, I was worried I had not shed that side of
Yeah.
me. And then now I was like, oh, wait, I'm actually doing really good at this responsibility thing. I don't know. Something happened 3 months later that I cannot explain. And at that point, we were on, maybe it was the baby moon. I don't know what it was. But then it also felt nice we were out of the country for quite some time and nobody knew me there. So I was very openly pregnant. Like I was walking around with like my shirt buttoned down just till here, teeny weeny bump, and it was just it was one of those experiences where I got to enjoy another 2 months of being pregnant without having to worry that I'd find a headline and something of the sort. It was just really nice. And at that point we were with my husband's family. They were super supportive. You guys were checking on me all the time, and I don't know whether it's the hormonal change, but something changed and I was very happy and very energetic and looked nice in absolutely everything. And it was time to come back home. Um, and I was like, okay, I'm going back home. I'll give this another go. Again, it was one of those things where I was suddenly very creative and suddenly very active and proactive and all the different things. And I would reach out to companies and I'm like, I have this idea and I have this thing. And you're told, yeah, just focus on being pregnant. I'm still very bitter with certain companies because of that. Anyway, I come back home and I look at our apartment and I realize this home is not conducive for a child at all. We loved to host. We were always having parties. We were always having dinner parties. It was very much a home for adults. I don't even think any one of our friends used to bring their kids for longer than hang out and then they leave. Maybe our cousins would do sleepover, my nephews and nieces, but then I don't think anybody ever said, I will leave my child at your house. And then began my many, many, many trips to Talent Carpet Center.
I remember.
Yeah, and I pretty much lived there for another 3 months. So between there and just gallivanting Nairobi, the nesting period is amazing because you suddenly look at your living room and you're like, I need something here. Hence began the wall.
Massive pictures, green wall. I mean, you
It
really went hard.
was the wallpaper.
It was a wallpaper.
Colin was
Yes.
always at our house.
Yeah.
Every time my husband came home, Colin was wallpapering that house. I remember by the time we'd gotten to the third bedroom, he said, don't wallpaper my office. I don't want to see any more wallpaper in this house, please. And then I burst into tears. You don't appreciate just how much I'm working hard on making this house a home. when I think about some of the reasons I cried when I was pregnant, it's almost like you're looking for a reason to cry.
Mm.
You know, someone's just like, the food was salty and now you don't think I know how to cook. It was the second trimester was an emotionally hilarious yet energetic time.
Mm-hmm. Keep going. Now
Um,
you're back to Kenya.
yeah,
You are abroad where you could openly walk around with your bump. Now
yeah.
it's not the same here in Kenya because everybody knows you. Walk me through.
Everybody's a bit of a stretch, but okay.
Yes, okay. Many a people. Is
Yeah,
that better? Many
yeah,
a people know you.
yeah.
Talk to us about how it was like navigating being pregnant back in Kenya in the public eye.
First of all, there's a lady I owe an apology because I know her. And the very first time I went out and about, I went out with my sister to look for stuff at another furniture store at the Two Rivers Mall. And this lady sees me and she's just like, Anita, oh my gosh, congratulations. Dead ass. I was like, on what? She's looking at my stomach, she's looking at me, and she's like, Anita. And I'm like, what are you congratulating me for? I, you know, Vanessa, my sister laughed and said, you know, you said it so confidently. For a second, even I doubted that you were pregnant. So from that day on is when I realized, okay, maybe those tights are so comfortable where they stop here and then they just stretches over. So I was always in tights and a vest because you're hot all the time, appearance aside, just body temperature. And then I was just like, I guess this is not it. So now I was wearing baggy dresses all the time, and I was generally moving around, but people would be like, oh, why don't you just get an interior designer so nobody has to know? But then there's also a part of me that was like, okay, if they find out, they find out. In fact, there's even less pressure on my side because now I can happily navigate and not have to worry about somebody sneaking a photo and ruining my announcement because I had this big idea of how I wanted to announce Peanut.
Mm.
And then I don't know. It's amazing stores and employees and people who just came in and out of our home. There's a friend I emceed her birthday party. Surely everyone there was like, we you must be. I was like, no,
Just
I re-
fat.
no. I even went for an event and this girl she was so crude in the way she said, she's like, why are you dressing like you're carrying a baby? And I was like, no. Deny, deny, deny. Anyway, so finally we come up with a concept of how we're going to do this pregnancy announcement, and
Mm.
we shot it over a span of 3 days. It took
Mm-hmm.
over 2 weeks to put together all those looks and everything. Took another
Yes, I
like
remember.
3 weeks to do the editing.
Yes.
It was one of the most creative projects of my life, and I
Mm-hmm.
had so much fun putting it together with everybody involved.
Yes.
And then that was that. So
Extra, extra.
it was the extra was supposed to be, you know how like the newspaper extra, read all about it. But then people took it as giving I'm dressed and doing my announcement in a very extra way.
Mm.
And you guys were at our house the day before we announced because we were like, oh, you guys come over, let's have one last hurrah before we announce that we're pregnant and show you guys the video that we've done. And then that day I decided to go to a supermarket,
Mm-hmm.
and my sister says to me, your bump is not small. Somebody will see you and somebody will post that picture. You're announcing tomorrow, just wear a baggy dress or let me go buy what needs to be bought. But you know how I am when I'm hosting.
Mm.
I'm very particular about how I want things to be, and I knew I'm the only one who could find the exact avocados and lemons that I
Yep.
needed.
Mm-hmm. Of a
Anyway, I
dress code.
went when I was at the till. Thank you so much to the supermarkets that have an entire checkout counter for pregnant women, for pregnant women rather. And I'm over there, I'm standing over there, I'm on my phone, and I turn around, and there's this babe with her phone like this. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, are we being, even the person who was serving us was just like, are you? And she just took the photos, walked off, and went. So it was that evening now, when now I was like, this is the video, guys, what do you think? And then you came to me and you're like, just to let you know, there's a certain headline that's just come out. And I was like, I don't care, I'm still gonna post tomorrow. And the party ended up not ending until something like 4:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So
Which was crazy.
we I
You threw some crazy parties
and
during
I'd
your
stay up
pregnancy.
till 5.
Yes, yes.
Now by 11, I'm like, hey guys, see, see, we start
So uko na
wrapping up and
nyumbani.
go.
Uko na
Um,
kwenu.
And I was so nervous about this video, so I went to my Instagram, uploaded it, made sure it's uploaded, put my phone on silent, put it under the pillow, and went to sleep. Then I woke up at 1 p.m. And then when I woke up, I'd forgotten I had posted the video. I love pregnancy brain. You really wake up in bliss almost every day. So I woke up and I'd forgotten, and then I remembered. Then I freaked out, and then I went and I think it's because I've had a really, sometimes I have really bad situations
Mm.
online.
Mm-hmm.
I've had situations where my content isn't well received, and
Mm.
I am mature enough now to understand where I may have gone wrong in some of these things.
Mm.
Um, However, I was shocked by the positive response for one. And one of my friends said, "What did you think they were going to say?" And then I was like, "I don't know. People I didn't know what to expect, but then I really appreciated, I guess, just the like everybody took it in a really nice way, and I was like, yay! Not only the amount of work that went behind it, all the creatives who were involved in it, it just felt nice to see it go the way that it did,
Mm-hmm.
and that was that. Now I was like, now I can really walk around this city,
Gallivanting with my bump.
gallivanting with my baby bump, and
Dressing my bump. I
oh
think
my
that was
gosh,
the beginning of my dress, my bump. My bump, my dress.
can I tell you, I
I
dressed
remember.
Peanut up.
You did.
Oh, I had fun with it. But yeah, so that was that. Until we were late for delivery. She was meant to be,
Before you go there, talk to us about your baby shower because it was very unconventional.
which one?
Wait,
The one that we
there's more.
had at the.
There was more than one
Why was it unconventional?
because it was not a baby shower.
I mean, I think the way it was done differently was, I'm a person for words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a lot we could have done. We could have put chocolate on the diapers. We could have done all the different things. But it was just loved ones gathered around, and then everybody wrote sweet messages on like the coasters for baby peanut that were done. And it was my idea of close and intimate without the fanfare per se.
Mm-hmm.
I already knew I was having a girl
Mm-hmm.
because we wanted some element of the big bit of information to cut to be with my husband's family. So before we left the States, we had the baby reveal, and that's when I found out I was having a girl.
How did you feel about it?
I knew I was having a girl from the beginning, and I kept saying it's a girl, it's a girl, and everybody was very divided. And they're like, no, it must be a boy. The kind of heartburn you have. Kwanzaa, I'm sure that baby has a lot of hair, and like all the different myths that come around it. And I was just like, nah, she feels like a girl. So even when we found out, I was like, okay. The only thing that was pissing me off that day was I could not stand the smell of sesame oil, and we had the gender reveal in one of those hot pots Chinese restaurants. So the whole time I was there, I was dying to throw up. So I was like, let's find out the gender so we can go. And yes, I was very happy. So now from then on, now I was like, okay, so now I know whom I'm shopping for, but I never shopped for her girly stuff. I only bought unisex clothing because I, I was also worried in when they did the test. First of all, America is so expensive. When they did all the different exams, it says at the bottom, this may not be the real gender of the baby, so that you don't come back and sue when you see a little penis at the end of the day.
Mhm.
So I didn't know. I was like, in case the baby comes out and we're like, ooh, hey, Willy, Willy, let's just have unisex outfits.
Yes,
So everything I bought
was
was
gendered.
unisex. It
Mm-hmm.
was you saw,
Mm.
and I had a lot of fun putting the nursery together. That was also really really fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so before we get to the birth story, your new parents, how did you navigate the pregnancy? Did you get any support? How did you, because this is obviously something you hadn't done before,
Yeah.
right? So how did you navigate in preparation for birth? And what did you envision for your birth?
Um. First of all, I allow me to say, between my partner, you guys, my friends, my family, I truly, truly received just the best support ever. And then we also hired a lady called Esther, who's a doula. And she was absolutely incredible in helping us navigate the whole pregnancy process because I did not know what I was doing. I was just told eat healthy, walk around, don't be stressed. First of all, when you're told don't be stressed, I will never understand. It's a very stressful time, and you're told to not get stressed. So there was that. I was practicing baby yoga, which by the way, when you have to do downward dog and then the whole baby comes and then the tits come and then your face comes and then your cheeks and you feel like your entire body is at your forehead. Just it's a lot. So there was many different elements of support that we had.
Mm-hmm.
That just made the process very enjoyable and something that I was very grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also doing therapy at the same time. So then I was talking to the therapist, and if ever there was anything that I felt I was unsure about, despite the fact that she's not, she it was in her qualifications, but then with her I was talking more about my normal day-to-day intrusive thoughts
Mm-hmm.
more than baby related thoughts. And
Mm-hmm.
then Dr. Ingrid is an amazing gynecologist, so she's the one who I was working with the whole time, and she was great. You go, you do the test, she tells you what's happening, you're fine. We kept going to get checked. I don't know whether it's a new first time parent thing. I wonder if we'll do this for Bumblebee. But we were always going to get checked.
Mm.
Anything happens, let's go to the hospital. We need to make sure we're okay. And it was that, and like I said, I nerd out on things, and I was reading a lot about what causes the different. I didn't read pregnancy books, but I read about what the body does when you're pregnant. So
Mm.
every time there was a different change, I was like, it's because of this,
Mm-hmm.
this has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that gave me peace of mind. So any bodily changes didn't really, those didn't bother me at all. And I was just, I don't know, like I said, there was something beautiful that happened in the second trimester. Maybe it was a surge of happy hormones or something, but I really, truly enjoyed those last 2 semesters. So even with all the support being there, I was also showing up for myself more.
Mm. Okay, that was your second and third trimester.
Yeah.
So, for any mothers who are first-time moms looking to prepare for, this journey, what would you suggest? Because you've spoken about so many different aspects, touching
Yeah.
on mental health, touching on doula, touching on the whole shebang. What your top three things you'd suggest?
Oh man. However you choose to go about it, no matter what you choose to do, you have to find a way to get into the right mental space.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're feeling okay, then you have run majority of this race. When you're when you're in a good space, even I feel like when you're in a bad space, even when good things are happening, like I said, you don't even realize because you're so hell bent on everything. You're in a very negative space, so even good things don't really seem to dent
Mm-hmm.
the your reality. So I would say where your mental space is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd say the your partner or whom you choose to have a child with is very, very important because they're a very big part of the journey. I mean, it's the first part is fun. When you're making the baby, we love that. And then now there's another 9 months, and then there's another 18 years, and then there's another God knows how many decades and decades and decades to go. And you need somebody who is supportive and loving and also understands that you are going through a lot of changes, so you cannot always show up. So there'll be days you'll be 80, there'll be days that you're 20, and this person needs to fill in the deficit where you're not able to do that. And I understand that sometimes this is not something that we are all able to have. So then in that case, be it your family or your friends, you need a very strong support system because a lot of things are happening to you mentally and physically, and you need the support. So if it's not your partner, let it be people that share and be open about what you're going through, and do not be afraid to ask for help. Because when you're afraid to ask for help and when you're like, I've got this, I'll figure it out, you'll find yourself stressing yourself when somebody could have just stepped in and been like, you know what, it's okay today, you chill. I'm gonna be able to do. Somebody will feel your deficit for you when your cup isn't 100% there. And then I'd say if you're able to, and it's financially possible to you, please get a doula and get a gynecologist who's also very supportive, because a doula really walks you through a lot of or join mommy clubs. There's so many mommy clubs these days. Make sure you watch Mama Zone. You'll learn a lot. There's so much you can learn these days from moms because they're much more open about what's really happening. I'm in more mom groups now than I am in groups for sherehe because these days it's always like I'm like, hey, there's a certain part of my body that's behaving like this. I'm not sure if this is normal. And like 20 people will respond and say, oh, that's normal. Don't worry about it. Just go and like put an ice pack and blah, blah, blah. And they'll help you through it. So I'd say yeah, so just getting your mind right, getting a good support system, and if you can get a doula, or if you can or if not, just join mom groups and just be a part of community, and community really comes through for you.
What would you say was the scariest part of your motherhood journey in terms of the pregnancy and even the transition?
I think it's because I get seizures, and I had been told if I did, the chances of me miscarrying would be very high. So almost the entire pregnancy, it was it was also one of the reasons I was told you cannot be stressed. You cannot be stressed. In the beginning, they had put me on Keppra, which now we later came to find out is not a drug that you're supposed to be taking if you're trying to conceive or if you're pregnant. Although and again, I'm not a doctor. This is all just information that over time, it was some doctors said, take it, it's the safest one when you're pregnant. And then other doctors said, absolutely not. There's even a doctor who made me sign a waiver saying he has informed me that if I'm on Keppra, I should not be trying to conceive or I shouldn't be taking it when I'm pregnant. So there was conflicting opinions around this drug, so I just opted out of it completely. And then now spent the rest of the pregnancy hoping and praying that I do not get a seizure, because that was one of my our biggest scares. And I always said, Kaya healed me because the whole time I was pregnant, never got a seizure. Year that followed, never got a seizure. The whole time when it's almost like the whole time she was fully dependent on me, I was fine. And I'm very grateful to that. So I'd say that was definitely my biggest scare. Or I guess just anything happening to your baby, because you've never had a baby before. So any weird pain, any they don't know where fluids just come from, and you're chilling fluids, and you're like, is that my water, has it broken? But it's not yet time, and it's if it's not that, it's just the Braxton Hicks from time to time. It's I don't know, it was you don't all these body changes are so new and so different. Sometimes you say it to like a veteran mom, and they're like, ati nini kitu gani, you're fine. And then you're like, okay, cool. you know um I think that those were my primary fears, just the baby being okay and me being okay enough to take care of the baby as well.
Were there any? Were you ready to be a mom?
I by when was it? Kai was born in August, beginning of August. I was ready. It was time. I didn't. Woo! I was peeing every single moment of the every single time I did anything. I was peeing. I was ready to be a mom more because I just wanted to stop peeing all the time. But also, she needed to see this house. I'd done a really good job with that apartment. I mean, I wasn't gonna. I'd already seen it. Her father had already seen it. Anyone who even the delivery guy who's just like, hey, you ordered nyanyas. I'm like, come, you need to see what I've done with this apartment. She had to see this place. So there was that. But then, like I said, as the months went by, I through all the different elements of support and therapy and just mental changes around the thing and physical changes, and I was now excited to be a mom. I was like, you know what, maybe I got this, maybe, and worst case scenario, chat GPT, but one way or another, I got this. And by the time it was now the month when she was meant to be born, she wasn't born on the date that was originally communicated to us.
Oh, so she wasn't born on her EDD.
No, she was not. She was meant to be a Leo, but she was born a Virgo. So then, as we got closer, now you're just uncomfortable all the time. You can't. You try. That sleeping pillow did not work for me at all, and I was now starting to turn my husband into a sleeping pillow. Like everything was becoming very difficult for me to navigate. And then I used to have that walk,
The penguin would.
the penguin walk like this, and then you're peeing 6 times at night, you're peeing 30 times during the day. I didn't want to go anywhere where I didn't know what the toilet situation was, because you have to hover, and now you don't have balance because you might tip over and hit the door as you're just trying to pee. Everything became perilous. I was a danger to myself and Peanut. So who was not a Peanut at this point. And I was ready. I was just like, okay, so the doctor tells us, okay, it seems your daughter is late, so we're going to have to do the sweep, which is one of the most uncomfortable things you have ever done. It's basically, you see how a tangerine is, and it has the white membrane. Now, when they do the sweep, it's like they're separating the skin from the membrane. That's what they're doing on your insides. It's a 5 second affair, but it's I remember when she said it and I went online, I immediately got offline. They were like, oh my gosh, not the sweep. So we went and we did the sweep, and she said in 48 hours there should be some kind of action. We did everything. I ate all the curry in the world. We went on all the bumpy roads. We did all the bumping. We did everything humanly possible to try and get Peanut out. She was not interested. Not at all.
This was week what?
This is now, we were about a week and a half late, 2 weeks late. I don't quite remember now, but it was way past a week and change. So then the doctor says to us, okay, if your baby is not here by Friday morning, then you have to check into the hospital. One piece of advice I'll give you is, because there seems to be a season when we're all giving birth or we're all pregnant and the hospitals get very busy. So then just go to the hospital of your choice that you want to go to, do all the paperwork, pay the deposits that are required, do all the things that you need to do so that when you arrive on the day, especially if you're in labor, you're not being told, okay, please sit down. Okay, where's the paperwork? By the way, have you paid? Those are they will allow you to do it in advance, and you go with the form showing you've already done it. So we were meant to go check in on Friday. The night before, we go out to dinner as a last hurrah. We're like, okay, let's just go for one last night out of dinner where it's just us without the baby. We bump into some of
What
my
do you mean
friends.
us without the baby? You're walking with the baby.
I mean, she wasn't physically. I mean, okay, she was physically there, but she wasn't like there. You know.
Okay, before baby, yes.
Okay, before we've given birth to, before I have given birth to Peanut. I also had a birth plan where I wrote down everything that I expected from the. I really wanted a natural delivery. My B was not supposed to see anything. There was meant to be a curtain. So if there had to be an emergency or if I was delivering naturally, there had to be a curtain. I had a labor playlist. It was lit, and then there was that. I did not want. What was I had a bunch of conditions. I can't remember them all fully now, but I wanted a C-section to be the last possible resort. I wanted to hold the baby skin to skin when she was born, and then be to do the same. Then they don't wash her when she's been born, to just give time for all the beautiful things to
nutrients to
get it to get.
penetrate into her skin, yeah? That must be
Yes.
from Esther.
Yes.
Yes.
As I learned so much from Esther, including the
Esther the
bouncing
doula.
of the ball. By the way, I still have your ball, the bouncing one. I'll give it back, I promise. I just found it the other day. I'm sorry. So then she was very, very helpful, and even learning about breastfeeding. I bought a breast pump early, and I wanted to see what the feeling was like.
Thank
And
you
now
for
I,
also gifting me one.
anytime, baby. And it really feels, I get what cows go through, and it ain't cool. Like, it's just not cool. I was like, this is not a feeling that human beings should have to. It just, no, it's no. Anyway, I understand why for the first like year and change after giving birth, you really don't view your mammary glands with the same sexiness you viewed them with. When
Right?
where now you don't even
Right.
want your partner going there because you're like,
It's like
no.
this
So
is
these are
milk
the
production center.
they've currently been leased. We let you know when the lease is over. So yeah, so I tried all these different things. I packed my bag long before I was meant to go to the hospital. And then I one of our friends said this, and I laughed because I did the same thing. Normal people would be packing things that they actually need in the hospital. I had my skincare routine. I had different perfumes for different times of the day. Basically, it's like I was going for a
Vacation.
staycation or a vacation, and not really to a hospital. And
To
then I
give
heard
birth.
her stuff separate and my stuff separate. We go for this dinner, bump into some of my friends, and at this point it had become a running joke. You're still pregnant? Every day I woke up and I couldn't believe I was still pregnant. How is this baby not in the mood to come out of my womb at this point? So then we order lobster thermidor for dinner. This is at 9:45. At 11 o'clock, we're home. I'm on the toilet seat. And I'm like, Braxton Hicks are the kind of like full contraction. So you think you're contracting, but you're not. And I'd gotten so used to getting them, I just assumed that's what it was. But this was not stopping. So I'm there, and then I was so grateful I pooped Ivy because my biggest fear was to poop on the table. Oh my gosh. I just did not. I was like, no, no, because I'd heard about this, and then like the baby comes out covered in shit. I don't know if that's how I want to meet Peanut. But anyway, it's a natural occurrence. So in this moment, I was just like, you know what, it's fine. I'd taken a laxative the day before.
You had taken a laxative.
I'd been told I'm checking in on Friday. So I did
So
my,
you decided to do a cleanse.
yes.
So you and Taria, just yours is different. People like inducing. Please, guys, do not take a laxative. God, I can't believe I'm
Wait,
saying
it
a lot of
induces
this.
labor?
Yes, because it causes you to start diarrheaing, right? And it can be
Oh,
so intense, you start contractions.
no, but you see, at this point, I had such a good bowel movement. I never, listen, I've taken laxatives post or like what during those times when I'm constipated and I need the help. I know what you're talking about. I know that feeling in the back of contract. It wasn't like that. This was chill.
Kindly, please don't take
But okay,
laxatives.
don't.
Okay.
Anyway, so I took this thing so that because I was like, no matter what happens when I check into that hospital, I am not going to poop.
Ay.
Then I'm on the toilet seat. I poop and then I'm peeing and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, excuse me, I'm like, this pain is not going away. So I would stand up, I go, then I say to Barrett and V, I'm like, hey, I think I might be in labor. They're like, Anita, every day you have umetuimbia hii nyimbo. I think it cannot be. Vanessa even says, I've gone to sleep. If it's the real thing this time round, wake me up. I was like, cool. So then B says, call Esther. I call Esther. She's like, have you been timing them? Esther has been saying, ever since we met, remember to time. It did not even occur to me to time at all. I was online watching things, catching up with news. I had not even checked even twice. So I was like, oh, let me start now. How long did you say it was? Let me do that now. Immediately I check. I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'm in labor. Okay, cool. Let's go. This is around
So how did you know this was different from Braxton Hicks? What is it about the timing that told you this is the real thing?
I forgot the timing that she said, but she said, was it after every 3 minutes or was it after every 5 minutes? There's a certain number of minutes, she said, if after which you're contracting and this goes on for 20 minutes, you're definitely in labor. But you see, I'd also thought there has to be the splash. The water has to break. I have to be like, my water's broken. People are slipping around. I'm like, don't step there. And then, like I had an idea of what was supposed to, and this was not what was happening.
Oh gosh, the disappointment.
And I kept saying my water hasn't broken, so I can't be in labor.
Yes.
And when someone who's doing their job is like, your water doesn't have to break for you to be in labor. You are clearly in labor.
And you're like, but the movie.
But the movie said, Anyway, so now we establish we're in labor. We grab the bag. We wake my sister. We go to the hospital. I forget to carry my big speaker so I can play my playlist.
After building that beautiful playlist.
Girl, I even forgot to carry the ball. Like we left. And then we get to the hospital, and then now is when I'm like, oh, I forgot this. Oh, I forgot this. First of all, let's talk about the ride from our house to the hospital. It was a less than 10-minute ride. Barrett found every single pothole that has ever existed on that road, every bump. I wanted to murder that man on the way to the hospital because it felt like I literally had a head just. I couldn't even put my legs together. And it just felt like this baby has really engaged wherever she is right now.
Where did you give birth?
Aga Khan Hospital.
That's where your gynecologist was based?
Yes. So then we get there and then we go to the ward that we had booked. And hence why I was saying it's nice to do all the paperwork beforehand, because when we got there, they took me straight to my room. So we get there and I'm lying on the bed, and then it's now around 2 a.m., right? And sorry, excuse me. So we get to the hospital. They take me to the ward that we had booked before. So now Barrett was only just doing final paperwork, because they ask questions like, in the event of anything going wrong, do we save the mother? Do we save the baby? And I'm very, very happy to know that he said me. It's the thing which they're like, we can always make another baby, but you don't want to lose your wife.
Well, you can make another wife, but I'm
Yeah.
glad he didn't say that.
I'm glad that's not where we went with this. We're still happily married. So we know he made the right choice. So I'm lying there and I cannot explain to you the beauty and the grandeur of the human brain because how you can be in that much pain and it's almost like your brain shuts off every single time you're contracting
The
and then
oxytocin, according to
and then
Esther,
it
right?
just and then I can never explain it. I was over there googling. I'm like, how is it possible that you can be in so much pain but you don't feel any, like you feel it but it's not as intense. I mean, so I'm lying on this bed on my side just in awe of the human brain because it's unbelievable how it's like my body would shut down when I'm contracting, and then I get my little breather where it stops, and then it shuts down again as I'm contracting. And at this point, it's now the nurses come and they're checking on you and all the different things. So you would think with the kind of pain that I was in and the situation that I had found myself in where I could not even keep my legs together, this baby was like at least 30 centimeters dilated. But let me tell you, when that lady was checked, and then she was like, two. So I was like, in 2 minutes. She's like, no, you're 2 centimeters dilated. And then I was like, okay. And then she's like, oh, this is great. Okay, so everything is moving on swiftly and going on well, blah, 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 blah. Now I'm in the hospital robe and everything. B is back. Him and Vanessa sitting on the couch over there, just silently looking at me. Because they would try to speak, and I'm like, just give me a minute. I just. And then they're like, so you this is 2 a.m. So you will deliver approximately 12 p.m. later today. I was like, why did I choose this life? So in my head in that moment, I said, okay, Anita, you're now in a situation where it has to become, mind over matter. You have many hours before you deliver, and you're gonna feel this pain up until that time. You have to figure out how to cope. The playlist would have been nice at that point, right? Yeah, but I forgot my buds at home, and I also just didn't have. I don't know how to explain. I went into a quiet place, and I would go there every time I contract, and then come back. Until they came and they set up all the different heart monitors. And then there was an EDM concert in that room all of a sudden. And I was like, this is not the vibe for contracting. This is not the vibe. And then every time I would contract, it was like, everything would just go. The only thing missing were the strobe lights. And I was like, what is going on? No one's telling me what's going on. My gynecologist has already been called. Unfortunately, you don't allow your personal doula to come into the ward with you. So then, because I would have loved to go in there with Esther, but then she was on the phone with me for anything that I needed. So I'm there, and then ah, the bits where you begin to be humbled start around this time. So there's already that they check your dilation using fingers, which is you're like, this is wow. Again, another thing.
Invasive, to
Inv-
say the least.
it's in yeah. That's another thing. Also, you want to give it a bit of a grace period before you want to go back to enjoying it again, because how you'll remember it for a while isn't very
Yeah, I
pleasant.
mean, it's bedroom stuff, not so bedroom
Yeah,
anymore.
I think that's why they tell you wait a couple of weeks because they're waiting for the other hormones to kick in to help you forget everything that
I
you
wonder
went through.
what your husband feels because it doesn't. There's no hormones that he forgets.
Yeah, he remembers everything, and he's sitting right there.
It's like, what are they doing to my wife?
I think my sister watching me in that situation must be the day she decided this is not for me. So then I'm there, then I felt like peeing. And I was like, I was like, no, 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 no. So of course I just assume I'm gonna walk off the bed, walk to my bathroom, come back. No. You know the doggy pad that you train your puppies to pee with? How do I see this thing being brought into the room? And I'm like, no, this is not for me. And you're told hoist yourself, so you hoist yourself and then it's put under you, and then you're told, all right, pee. I'm like, I'm having performance anxiety. There's too many people in this room. What do you mean pee? When was the last time I peed in public? I haven't done this since I was maybe two.
And you're in that robe that has the butt cheeks already out, right?
Ma'am, it has been pulled up to here.
So
Right now,
everybody can
the
see.
only thing that's covered is well, it's your mammary glands. But then there's the bump. You first of all, you haven't seen your private parts in months.
Yep, that's
Yeah, I
correct.
forgot to mention that there was one morning I could always see it, and then I woke up one morning, and I looked down, and I couldn't see it. And I was like, I don't understand. And you kind of check to make sure it's still there. And then you just don't see it for so many months. By the time you see it next, you're like, hi, friend. Um, so then, so you're lying on your back. First of all, lying on your back is so uncomfortable because of where the baby is. And then, so you have to pee. And that was
Wait,
just
so you were lying on your back when you're peeing, or you sat up?
no, I couldn't even sit up because there was like wires and all these things. So I was literally on my back. I could be on my back or on my side, but I don't know how you pee on
On
your
this side.
side. So then I was like, okay, maybe if I, so now I just scoot on, and then, hey, it was hard, but I figured it out. I peed. And then
And
after that, they're like, okay, cool. And they come, and they wipe you, and they take the doggy pad away, and they check to make sure you haven't damaged the sheets, or if they have, then now they'll come and they'll replace it for you. Great service. I'll give them that.
very humbling.
Very. Imagine your man's just watching you peeing. And then you know how, for some reason, that's the day when it sounds like Nairobi water has come back. It's so much pee. And every day it's like two, three drops. And I was like, shh. It sounds like the rain. And you're just like, please. Until you're trying to like stop it. So you're like, let me just pee with decorum. Not happening. So I told myself, we're not peeing again. But then you have to drink water because you're thirsty. You're just anyway. I'm now clean and turned over to my side. I'm over there. Finally, my gyna comes in. She looks at a bunch of things and then they discuss something amongst themselves. B is called outside. They come and then it's also very strange because it's you who's having the baby, but it's everybody else who seems to know what's going on except you.
Hmm.
Then why am I shouting? Sorry. Then the machine is still on EDM concert mode. Then finally she comes and she's holding my very beautifully printed birth chart of everything that I require, demand and request and hope for. And she goes, hi Anita, yeah, so wait, something. So she beats around the bush a little bit, and then I'm just like, what's going on? And then she's like, yeah, we're gonna have to go in for an emergency C-section. I was like, nope, not happening. I'm having a natural birth. This is I'm that chick. That I'm like, no, every praise. I'm like, I am giving birth to this child naturally. And I think it's also the part where just as a woman you feel like maybe if you do it that way then you have like a bragging right of, do you know I pushed you, do you know I pushed life out of my body. And I was insisting on this, and then this thing keeps going off, and she's like, okay, let's wrap. We don't have time for this. Your baby has engaged, but she seems to have engaged with either the umbilical cord, and we don't know if it's choking her or what it's doing. But every time you contract, that heart rate you're hearing is hers. So we're gonna have to go into an emergency C-section. So she gives me the different details, and I'm going over the thing with her. I'm like, okay, so can my husband be there? Can da 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 da. What medication are you giving me? This is what I'm allergic to. So we're going over these things, and then I ask her, okay, just out of curiosity, because I really do still want to do a natural birth. How long is this thing gonna take? And then she's like, 30 minutes. I'm like, ma'am, what have we been discussing? Remove these wires. Let's go. 30 minutes, and you're telling I was going to give birth at midday. Midday, let's go. You know,
What time is this?
this is, it's going to 3 a.m. And now the as much as it was yeah, 30 minutes, that's it. I Going under isn't something I particularly enjoy because I've broken my arm before and I had to go under for surgery, and that wasn't an experience that I particularly enjoyed. So then I'm just like, okay, I still need to understand the seriousness of the fact that I'm gonna be under anesthesia. Then she says to me, you can do the half body one. Do you want to be present when you deliver? And I said, oh my gosh, if there's that option, I would love to do that. So she says, no problem. Let's prep for surgery. So B was told he has to be in full scrubs. My sister would stay in the room. So now, when you're told 30 minutes and you're still contracting, your head is now counting 30 minutes from the moment you were told. This is not the prepping of the surgery, the getting the anesthesia. So it wasn't really 30 minutes. Anyway, so we are all gathered where we need to be, and then I get to the theater. And again, just sometimes it's so humbling what happens in these situations, because why were there seven men there? I was like, is that there were so many. And in the whole process, as much as you have that gown, your butt cheeks are just like, glaring back there. And
First of all, I don't know who designed that gown and why they felt the butt cheeks are what is
They had
needs to
an
be. They
agenda,
did. They
you
did.
know, and clearly it really worked out for them because you see a lot of butt in
You
hospital.
do.
Um,
Not great part though.
I mean, it depends. You know, every butt has its, different shapes and sizes. They appreciated how they come. Okay, um, right. So we get to the theater, and there's a whole bunch of doctors.
You go in
There
with
were
Barrett?
no. He hadn't come in yet. Now it was just my gynecologist. She comes in. She says what she needs done. So it was her.
And who are the seven dudes?
I'm gonna get to that. There's
Oh,
only
my
one
bad.
that I remember.
Uh-huh.
I mean, also imagine if right now I was like, there was Peter, James, Michael. I mean, who in that situation was like, let me tell you about the man in this theater.
If they were.
I only remember Rafiki,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll tell you why. So then we get there, and I was just perplexed as to why there were so many, and then. Of course, they have to come and do an exam again just to see how far dilated you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, do they all have to be here? Like, as in, maybe Musimame Upandele, and then this one chick comes and checks, and then you all can come and stand back here. So then they tell me they're going to do an injection in my spine, and I have to stay still. And there's going to be 3 injections. And you've had this experience as well where you're supposed to somehow stay still and you're contracting. And I'm sitting there, and he introduces himself and he's like, hi, my name is Rafiki. I'm the anesthesiologist. And
That's a good name.
immediately my brain goes to, I was like, Lion King. And my brain was like, you need to tell this guy as soon as your daughter is born to lift her up and sing the circle of life. And that was the thought of it while I'm sitting over there waiting for this injection. So you're told breathe in, they do the first one. That it's actually pretty painful because it's scary because one of my friends who had done anesthesia before, that something had gone wrong with where the injection went and she had back problems. So I was scared that the same thing would happen to me. So when they said breathe in and be still, as in I should have been in the Bible. Like it was like I was stone. I was like, I'm not moving until they get this thing done right. Then they tell you when you stop feeling your legs, let us know. Then you do. Then they swing you, kind of like swing your legs over. Remember the 1% thing I talked to you about?
Mm-hmm.
Of course. I don't know what was in this anesthesia that did not work out for my body in particular. So they come, they put the curtain over, they bring up your outfit. So I'm just like, oh my god, did I remember to shave? I don't, as in I just didn't. In that moment, I was thinking the most silly things because I didn't want to think about how serious this situation was. B comes at that point. He's stationed next to me, and I tell him, no matter what you do, you better not leave here. I've heard stories about men who see what's happening on the other side and then they no longer want to go to that side. Sit down. And then now they've put me on something like a cross. And then I'm shivering. I had braces at the time. So the braces are shredding the inside of my mouth because I'm literally shivering. So they put a pipe and a blanket that's giving me heat, but it's really not doing anything. So I didn't understand why I wasn't reacting well to whatever this was, but I was told, oh, this is normal. It happens to 1% of the. I was like, yeah. There we go, the 1%. So we start the process. Indeed, it did not take long. It was weird because you feel like someone is shuffling something in you, but you can't feel it. And then an emptiness. And then you hear the cry. B told me because I wasn't seeing what he was doing at some point. He said he peeked over the amount of blood he saw coming out. He just sat down and said, "Mm-mm, that that side is not for me." So we hear the cry and the congratulations, you have a girl. We hadn't settled on her name yet. She was either going to be called Azria, Marley, or Kaya. And we said when we see her, we'll decide once we hold her and we've spent some time with her, which one suits her better. So then we see her, and I have never seen a paler baby. That baby was pale. The first thing that came out of, most people be like, oh my God, I can't believe it, I have a baby. I was like, that baby is so pale. In between, oh, my baby is so pale. Oh my God. So I'm shivering.
Okay,
And then they're
Anita.
trying to hand me the baby. And literally just like in this position, and I'm like, I can't even talk. How am I supposed to hold the baby? So I'm like, Brad, you hold the baby and go do skin to skin right now. So he's in awe, and you can see the shock on his face. I'm shocked. Well, I guess everybody else wasn't. I forgot to tell Rafiki that one job that I needed him to do. And then so now they do what they need to do in terms of weighing the baby. I don't know what happened after that per se. All I just remember saying to Barrett was, you better keep your eye on that child until the moment we leave this hospital. You bet, don't I don't you but I want to make sure that is our child, because I've also heard rumors of things like this happening, not necessarily at this hospital, but just rumors of how sometimes babies can look alike when they're born. And I don't know how you'd confuse this one, to be honest. This baby was white as snow. I was like, just watch over the baby. So he leaves, and now they're like, we're gonna sew you up. I was like, oh, how long is this gonna take? And they're like, it should take us about maximum 25 minutes. I say fine. My last recollections of that moment was there's just an emptiness in my stomach, and then I'm really, really shivering, and I'm praying. I'm like, I I want to fall asleep because I'm tired of shivering, and I'm tired generally. Then that's pretty much my last recollection. Next thing I knew, I woke up and I was in a different room, um, tits out, like just like things all over my chest, and I'm like, this is not where I was when I went. But then I also don't remember much, and I feel high, like high, like this, like a heaviness in the head that I can't possibly explain. So I'm trying to remember. The last time I felt that way was when I had my surgery and I woke up, and it was, so I assumed it was morphine, or I don't know, something along those lines. So I wake up and I forget that I've given birth. So I'm over there and I'm like, why am why are my tits out? What's going on here? Takes me a moment to calibrate what's going on, and then I remember, oh yes, you came to the hospital today. So a nurse walks in and goes, oh, thank goodness you're awake. And I was like, hey, quick one. Did I give birth today? And she's like, yes. Where is she? And then she's with her father. Where are they? They're in the ward. Can I go see them? Not now. We're monitoring you. So I was like, what happened? And she was like, there's something that they gave me that sent my body into shock. And then my heart rate spiked, and then a whole litany of things that could go wrong medically did. But alas, here I am. And my heart rate is going down, there, but I'm just there for monitoring. So I was like, all right, cool. I pass out again. So I did this a couple of times until one of the nurses said, if can I go get your husband for you, and he can come and see you. He can't come with the baby. She's under observation, but can he come and see you, just so you can know everything is okay? Because I don't know whether maybe on their part they didn't realize that really every time I wake up it's 51st dates. I don't know that I now have a baby. So B comes, and he's just like, what happened? He's like, I left. You were supposed to be back in a very short span of time. He's like, do you know how many hours you've been here? I've been so worried. I've been asking where you are. I'm like, I've been asking where you are. So then he's like, everything is fine. The baby is fine. She's really adorable. They've just been doing all the different things that they need to do when a baby is born. Everything is going to be okay. I've asked them how much longer you'll be here. They've said another hour and a half or something like that, and then you'll come to the room. I was like, okay. I'm like, could you go and find out what happened to me? How did I end up here? Even though I'd been told, and I didn't quite recall at the time. Finally, at some point, they say you're ready, and that part I still remember, that when you're being wheeled around and you're kind of seeing the other parts of the hospital as you're going, this word, which was like 2 seconds away when we arrived, was now 500 hours away, because I just couldn't wait to be somewhere where the people I'm with are my family. So when we get to that one, it was a different room now. So it's different facing, and I was like, did I just dream up like the last couple of hours of my life? Anyway, so I'm there, still very knocked out on the medication they've given me. Then they come and they're like, okay, so now we need to start getting the milk down. I the nurse is talking. I don't even know what she's saying. I just keep falling asleep. She's like, are you listening? I'm like, I'm not even awake, dude. Like, I don't know what's going on. Um, Friends started coming to visit. I have vague memories of them being there. I have more memories of some of me dozing off until drool comes out on the side, and then I'm like, oh hi, you came to visit. So that was pretty much like the first day.
And Kaya and you, did you get to hold Kaya or much
By
later?
the time I got to hold Kaya, it was getting close to morning, but I didn't. It was close to morning, or just morning had just gotten there, but I don't remember it as well. I just remember being in awe of those ones of like, oh, wow, this is an interesting situation. And then I was so because I'd been telling my friends and my loved ones, babies look strange when they're born. Don't come at me with that madness of, oh my God, this baby is so if she looks like a raisin, just be like, she'll grow into her looks. Don't come and start gaslighting me about how gorgeous my child looks. So then I was just like, she's so beautiful though, genuinely. And I was just like, she's so tiny and fragile, and this is very scary. Those are some of the emotions I remember feeling, but I didn't get to sit with her or hang out with her for a long time.
That instant love we hear in the.
No, 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 no. That's the other thing. I did not feel that. No, it took a while to come in. Mine was more along the lines of, "Hey, stranger," and she was even giving me that look of, "Hey, stranger," because she couldn't see yet, but I felt the aura of, "Hey, stranger," um, and it was more a feeling of, I have to be responsible. I have to not like I'm now responsible for someone. I need to. This is a lot of responsibility. This is a big deal. You have to be. It was now fear more than anything else, and then of course just the. But when now I was back to being cognizant, it was, you don't have a maternal bone in your body. You need to learn how to be somebody's mother. How are you going to do this? Right? And then now the boobs massaging, the boobs massage. You need to get the milk. You need to get the milk. But then I couldn't breastfeed anyway because of all the medication I was on. So they were like, you can't breastfeed your child that milk. We have to give it a couple of days, and then now you can breastfeed your child. So you'll stay in hospital until that happens. I said, cool. I asked what happens. What happened? They said there's something that they injected me. I don't know that it was the antibiotic. I'll need to find out before the second baby what it was, because I'm sure the gyna knows. There's something I was injected with that my body just did not accept, and it sent me into shock. But they're like, but you were fine. You just bled a lot and da 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 da. And even when I say these things out loud to you these days, I don't think I realized the seriousness of it in that moment. The fear of now being responsible for someone else was greater than the fear of anything could have gone wrong on that operating table. Then now it's just okay, the baby's here now. We start the process. So then it's cute how they're fed in that kakikombe that's this small, and that's all the milk they need. So there's that. They change the diapers for you. They pretty much do all the heavy lifting for you in the first couple of days, because it was a C-section, so I couldn't even sit up. And then the insides of my mouth was so shredded by my braces, I couldn't even eat. So then I've had a C-section. I'm obviously in a lot of pain. I cannot sit up. So a lot of my activities are
Bed based.
bedridden, bed related, da 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 da. But at least now I could go and pee. I
Hmm.
could go and pee. And then now they want you to poop. So every day they ask you, so have you? And you're like, no. It becomes a very strange question to be asked by different nurses from time to time. Have you? Do you want to go? I can. You're like, no, no, no. If I couldn't perform the pee in front of you, do you think I'll perform the poop in front of you? And then now we have to sit there in the stink together. No, sis. When it's ready, I will take myself. And the family is visiting, and at this point B is sleeping at the hospital with me every day. The service was impeccable, I'll give them that. The food was wonderful. Only problem was I couldn't enjoy most of it because I could barely eat, because I couldn't even chew anything. The insides of my mouth was like jelly. And then it was like, jelly is the wrong word. It was like you have wounds everywhere, so anything you eat, especially if it has flavor, you're screwed. You're just in pain now. Then now day 3, I was like, I want to go home, because either people are coming to check on you constantly, which obviously I appreciate, but then there's something about the events of, it was less than 72 hours where you just want to be alone. You just need time to mentally process what the hell you've just gone through, right? So then we paid for an extra day, but I was like, mm-mm, do what you have to do, go outside and let them know we're going home today. They said, but she has to poop. So I was like, give me a laxative
Again.
again. First of all, let me tell you, whatever, the way things have like power levels. There's the regular one, the one you're told, wait, 36 hours. These guys have like the atomic level laxative liquid, because they gave me that liquid. 30 minutes later, I was like, hold my hand. I was I was on that toilet seat releasing everything that came before I became a mother, because now I was starting a new life, a new journey, a new kind of stank. This was not going to be what I knew before. I left there feeling lighter. And my brain was just like, this is.
Clarity.
I had clarity over motherhood, because I have. I was like, wow. You know, usually when you leave the toilet and you're like, wow, it
Like a
has.
proper cleanser.
This was wow.
Life changing.
It reorganized my body organs. Everything was back to where it's supposed to be. The milk dropped, as in, I don't know what was in this thing. I was like, I'm like, I'm ready. I'm like, I'm like, and also don't let anyone use the toilet for at least 72 hours, but I'm ready. So yeah, so we pack up all of our stuff and we take our baby home.
How did that feel?
First of
Leaving the
all, she's
hospital.
the first, she's the first Nderu to ever be in a car seat, so that must have been very exciting for her. So no, so we drove home, and
It
it
was
was
you,
it was
Barrett, and baby.
it was me, Barrett, and baby. And then I just couldn't believe I did it. Oh, sorry, we did it, but mostly me. I did. We have a baby, and then now the work begins, and it felt good, but I was in too much pain. So I started making deals with God. I'm like, okay, so first of all, I really miss food. So if you can just fix my mouth real quick, I promise I'll never do this again. And then I don't know what's happening down here, sir, but I really need you to fix that sometime soon. Going to the bathroom or just standing up or just walking is impossible. Please, let's fix that. I promise I'll never do this again. And then I'm just wondering if you can just help me be a good mom. Like by the time we got there, God was just like, this is a long roast of promises you've made. Okay, we get to the house. He invited some of my friends over because there's a culture thing that came up apparently out of the blue, where he's like, oh, there's this culture we have in the boys community where after you've had the baby, the boys have to take you out for drinks. I'll be honest with you. I make fun of him about this all the time. I did not mind. I didn't even want to see him. I didn't want to see anybody. I just wanted. You have to remember, ever since Kaya was, we hadn't even named her Kaya at that point. No, we did. We named her Kaya on that last day. Ever since she was born, I had never been just me and Kaya. There was always someone in the room. It's almost and I'm like, do you guys not trust me? Did you not see the miracle of birth thing I just did? So then I had never been alone with her. So when he said he has to be somewhere, I was like, you do that, right? And then I found my friends, and they were like, we want to help you out, just settle you in first. So then they were hanging with the baby as now I was like getting settled into the bed and whatnot. And then I still could not use my milk, so now it was just feeding up through the little cups. And then at some point, everybody went home, and it was just Kaya and I. And I was looking at her like this, like the most foreign. Well, I mean, she is foreign. I mean, to half of her is, but I'm like, wow. I was like, this isn't, but not that feeling of my heart is exploding, my soul is in shambles. Never again will I feel anything. It was more like, okay, let's figure this out. A week goes by. I will say she was a pretty easy baby, to some degree, because we had a party on the fifth day of
Yes.
her existence,
Yes.
so everybody could meet her, which is also another thing you're not people say you're not supposed to do. You have to wait a certain number of months before you introduce your baby. We had a full-blown party. Then it was about a week and change, 2 weeks in, and she's in her pram in the living room, and I'm walking by, and I look at her, and it was the most. It felt like my heart had been squeezed like this, and then it was just. It was. It was a very overwhelming feeling of, okay, like I really I love you a lot, and I'll always have your back, and I'll always take care of you, and it's a kind of love which I truly believe it's you only have for your offspring, right? Because I love you and I love B, but I love you guys in different ways. And with her, it's almost like a love tied with responsibility and just I will take a bullet. It's a weird, but I finally got that feeling, and I remember when I got it, I was like, oh, thank God, I'm normal. I, th- I thought we were going to have a situation where people would be like, "Do you love your child?" I'm like, yeah, usually, yeah, on most days. I mean, the milk situation was great in the beginning. Pumping was pretty easy. Milk was coming well, and then I didn't realize that I gave birth to a fundi. And the bottle of Avent, the big one, this girl was clearing 8 of those bottles a day. I was so proud of what used to be 32 double A and what now 34 double D, and I was producing milk like I was part of where's the milk farm, and now she was draining them until they're going from being these big voluptuous things to being long, and I thought that's something that will go away over time, and I'm just to tell you now they're long. They just never went back to being round and perky. I can't go anywhere without a bra, and then you're leaking boobs and milk everywhere, and showering becomes a privilege. You go from showering twice a day to if you even get that one shower for more than 30 minutes, you are so excited. I looked I was in those diras that have a zipper over here, and I went from my sexy silk pajamas to what's the easiest way to pull out your boobs and just feed your baby. I was pulling them out in front of other people. I didn't even care anymore, which is another very humbling thing. As in now, even when I go somewhere, someone's like, "Let me give you some privacy to change." I'm like, "No, it's okay." I mean, between the 7 men, the nurses, and everyone who saw me breastfeeding, we're good, you know. Um, so I think there was that, and then there was again support, support, support. We happened to go to a center called Jazza Center where we interviewed nannies before we got Kaya. So a month before she was with us in this world, we had a nanny for her. So then she came a week before Kaya was born. She was acclimatized to the house and she knew where everything for Kaya was, and it was just kind of hit the ball, hit the this normally hit the floor running. So that was pretty chill. And then just family, friends, you guys bought her so many clothes, we didn't have to buy her anything for like a whole year. Then, oh, thank God for nowadays you can just order diapers to the house. You no longer have to go out and buy them. But I also bought so many diapers from Amazon. We had diapers for like the first 7 months. To be very honest, the first 3 months flew by. I wish I had savored them more. I wish I had taken more time to. I was too busy trying to be a mom to
Enjoy being a
to
mom.
enjoy being a mom. And then the next 3 months is when I really enjoyed it because now I knew all the tips and tricks. If you don't want to see anyone and you want time on your own, go to the toilet. Nobody's going to come to you and tell you you've been in the toilet for too long. But the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning, just go and shower because you know there's no other time in the day you're gonna get to shower.
Yes.
You have to understand everybody in the house will forget how anything works. Suddenly it'll be Ivy, 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 Anita, Anita, and you're like, you knew where the salt was
We
yesterday.
have lived together.
We've lived together for years. How is it you suddenly don't know where anything is? And then just if I wanted time with her by myself, I say I want to breastfeed. And now I was like, no one is following me into the bedroom, surely enough. And I would go and I'd stay with her, and the naps were legendary. Oh, the naps were legendary. I miss them so much. And breastfeeding was so nice also because I dropped all my kilos, including kilos that I had gained just out of being a 30-year-old, within 2 weeks of giving birth to her because of breastfeeding. I looked so hot. Do you think people can just get milk randomly out of nowhere anymore? I'm willing to just breastfeed a bunch of kids just so that I can
Apparently, if you
listen
go
to.
near a kid crying for a prolonged time, a newborn, it can activate.
I think I need to go to a nursery in
We
the
just we
hospital
try
one
it.
of these fine days. I just try
What
and
are you
see if
gonna
it
do with the
works.
milk?
I've rambled long enough. Sorry.
What? That's been a very very beautiful story. What would you say your key takeaways are for someone who's beginning this journey, or someone who's at the tail end of this journey, or someone considering starting this journey as a mom?
I'd say, especially with starting, is you need to know, how do I put it? I don't want to be shouted at. I'd say, especially with starting, is you need to know be, why you want to go down this journey, because you're dealing with somebody's life,
Mm.
right? And this life will also affect your life.
Mm.
So if you're doing it maybe because whether you're choosing to do it alone, whether you're choosing to do it because you want to adopt, which is always a very good option because there's many children who deserve good homes and families, or whether you're choosing to do it with your partner who at that time you guys feel this is something that you want to do, it's something that you need to sit with yourself long and hard and decide if the because you need to understand the ramifications of the decision that you're making. If it happens to you by accident, then you just have to remember to just try and get into the right headspace, try and find the right community, try and find the right just try and find a comfortable place to bring another life into. And then and you can always do it in your own way. It doesn't have to be in the way that sometimes it looks on social media, guys. It's so glorified. And if I was to go by, which is what I did before, by what I saw moms on social media doing, I thought I was a terrible mom. You know, people are super women out here, and you're just like, it's okay. I'm okay being, I don't have to be Batman in this one. I'll just be Robin. That'll do. And then I'll say, when you're in the process, you won't love you won't love the entirety of having a child, at least not for me. And I think that's okay. I loved her when she was between the ages of 1 and 0 to, let's say, 8 months, 9 months. Then she figured out how to crawl and figured out how to walk. And then now I was just trying to keep her alive and save her from hurting herself. And it was perilous and it was scary. And she was jumping off places and falling off places. And you start to wonder, oh my God, will I see her to the point where this phase is, that part was scary, and I personally did not enjoy that part at all. The weaning from milk to food, and then they're struggling to get used to food, and then now there's the sleepless nights, and there's different phases of a child being a child that you will love and others that you won't.
Mm.
And then now she can walk, she can talk, she's your little buddy, she loves to help. I have someone to send. When was the last time I picked the remote for myself? It's just things which my parents used to do to us, and I'm like, Mom, the remote is right there, so you just pick the remote. But then I'm like, I mean, if I can send you, why should I go? And just the pride she takes in bringing you the remote or your water bottle, or helping Barrett make coffee in the morning, or helping one of us cook. It's my favorite phase of her existence, and
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Mm.
And I know as the years will go by, there'll be times when I'll be like, oh, come on. And there'll be times when I'll be like, I love this. And I think when you're going through the process, it's okay to have phases that you don't love.
Mm.
I don't know what comes after this, so I feel like I don't think I should be giving advice over something that I don't know. But up until the age of 3, that is what I would say. And then I just say, just sometimes just remember to just have fun with it. Your kid reads off a lot of your energy. If you're constantly angry, or if you're constantly moody, or you're constantly not in a good place, your kid reads off that energy, and you'll notice an anxiety around how they move around you, because it's almost like they're like, I don't know why you're like this, so I don't know what to do. And you'll notice, if you make light of moments with your child and give them that time, even when you don't know exactly what they're saying or what they're doing, they start to develop a kind. And I've seen this in all the different phases of Kaya. When I was anxious and stressed, she was jumpy around me and almost avoiding me in general, where she'd just be like, I want B, or I want Rose, who is a superwoman in our household.
Rose
We
is your
love her
nanny.
so much. She's family to us practically. And she's been with Kaya ever since Kaya was born. And sometimes I'm like, why is she avoiding me? And then I'd realize, oh, everyone in the house is walking on eggshells because I've been in a weird mood for a couple of days. So you kind of need to fix yourself in that regard. And then, and just remember, in your entire household, in your entire home, in your entire being, a lot of what you project is how your kid will read off that. So as much as you can, just, try and create a conducive environment for them.
Mm-hmm. Two last questions from me. The first is, what's your favorite thing about motherhood?
It was the boobs.
Well, that was the time I think I saw the most amount of cleavage from you.
Now I only get cleavage once a month when my period comes, which by the way, no one tells you will show up. Out of the blue, one day when you're not expecting it. Because mine came after 7 months. And then one day I'm just minding my business, and then you realize it's a little moist downstairs. And then you go and it's back. And not in again, not it never comes back with decorum. It comes back, it's as though Nairobi Water was like, okay, fungue, it's a lock imetoka, everything. It was just
Umelipa bill.
umelipa bill, tokens imeingia. So then I would say my favorite thing about motherhood has, in many ways, has been experiencing it. I don't even know how to say it. I didn't know as many mothers as I know now. I understand why in my 20s I lost so many friends who became moms, because I didn't know what they were experiencing, and I didn't really I didn't match the energy to some degree, because they're like, yo, I can't come out today, I have to do this thing. And I'm like, why? See, you just give the baby to the, and like the logic I would use to, I mean, now I'm a mom, and I understand if I call you and you say I'm tired, I cannot do this today. I understand. Or if you're just like, hey, I can only see you for 20 minutes, we maliza, and then I'm no longer taking it personally that people have like, I get it now. And I think one of the things that it has taught me is boundaries. Motherhood has taught me boundaries in a manner, and the ability to say no unapologetically. And if somebody takes offense with that and you're telling the truth, that becomes a them problem. You already have too many things to worry about. So I'd say with motherhood, it's just the community of it all, learning boundaries, learning how to say no, learning to be so responsible beyond just you. And then also just enjoying, gosh, just enjoying seeing this little human learn all these things, most of which you already know for the first time. When they feel wind on their face for the first time and they're like, or
That was all of yesterday.
or like the first time Kaya was in a sea, and she couldn't understand why there was so much water around her. Her first time on a beach, her first time on a plane, her first time tasting different types of food. That even just when she's like, I like, getting to the point where she's like, I like avocado, popo, and this, where you see someone growing into themselves, and then just it's, when they say it's a journey, I get what it means. This is a whole different story that we are now on, based on, and yeah, I love it, and I pray that we get to go down this journey one more time. This time around, we'll call the baby Bumblebee until we get him or her. But then now we feel like we'll be better prepared, and just, it's been a very, I feel like I learned something new at least every week or every month in this very beautiful journey of being a mom. It can be hard sometimes, don't get me wrong, I'm not glamorizing this. It can be very, very hard sometimes. But then it can also be absolutely glorious.
Wow, I think that's it for me. I don't actually think there's any more to add.
I feel like if I speak anymore, you might have to, I might have to take up 3 episodes of this podcast.
Thank you so much for
Of course.
being kind enough to share your story. I know you have never shared it, so thank you for honoring me by sharing your story.
Of course, and thank you so much for starting this podcast. I've said to you, I really, really appreciate it, because it's gonna be great for all the questions you asked me. It's people who want to try, people who want to go down the journey, people who are in the journey. It will be nice for them to get different insights from different people, because everybody does have a very different experience.
True.
Right? And sometimes Googling may be fun, but it'll give you the most shared experience, as opposed to some of the most unique and unbelievable experience, or just pretty common experiences. So yeah, and this is very, very informative. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much to our guests. Thank you for joining us for yet another wonderful episode of Mama Zone. As always, please comment, share, subscribe. Give Anita some feedback on her many, 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 many stories. And I hope to
Can't
see
wait to have
you.
ass and boobs again, you guys.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We might need to that. And I hope to see you next time. Thank you very much for your time, and have a good evening. Thank you very much for joining us for yet another episode of Mama Zone. Please share, subscribe, cheer, cry, do everything in between. And we'll see you next time.